thoughts here on my deployment for my Crix army is, always get the Warcaster central. Scar loves to be in the middle of the field because of that 6 focus. She doesn't have a huge area of control range, so she likes to definitely be in the middle. And then my proxied Gaspy 4. Yes, I didn't have Gaspy 4 yet, but at least I printed some stuff out and painted them. Put them off onto one flank to kind of control that area, so that way they can possibly help flush into the center zone to control points. Kind of go with a balanced approach. I've got Warwitch Sirens, split them on either side, and all of that.
So looking at my deployment, I realize Wes is spread out pretty wide. So I have a couple options. Either I can deploy to one side a little bit more heavily, or I could go more central. With Mosar, he has a pretty big control range, but the pillar placement's really key. So I decided to put Mosar in the middle, flanked by a Primal Archon on either side to try to contest or at least get some action with the counter charges. Lining up the Warpwolf Stalkers just to be in the middle, because I'm not sure where I want to put them yet. And then I start deploying my Lightning Goats. They generally try to generally put them either hard on the flanks or towards the center. West had ambush, so I didn't put them out to the side.
Now with the advanced deployment for Crix, it's always going to be Stalkers. This time I'm actually playing 5 in the list, so a little bit more aggressive than I'm used to. So it'll definitely put a lot of early pressure.
Advanced deploy, I just throw some things out there. I put the World Watcher up on top to try to contest that zone and hope that my objective can heal it. And then I just kind of spread out the Wolf with No Name and to pray the Void Archon, and then the tree up the middle just for slinging some spells.
Yeah, it's always interesting when we have advanced deployment that everyone's always gauging those threat ranges right from the beginning. It's always that, what's that Stalker threat range? Well, what's your gun range? A lot of pre-measure right from the beginning on the advanced deployment line is quite interesting.
And then, Wes, you decided to keep your witches in ambush, correct?
Yeah, witches definitely we're going to ambush in. That's one of the things I like mostly about the Scourge theme is being able to take one of them in from the side. Definitely kind of controls where things are. As you can see from your deployment yourself, you kind of had to bunch up on that because of you got Stalkers coming at you, you got ambushing witches coming at you. Can get kind of critical mass fast. So most first turns, it's always whoever goes first. It's run. That's one everyone always talks about, running first turn. I think the game has evolved a little bit more than just blindly running forward. It's having that conversation of threat ranges. Kind of thinking, where is everything at? Knowing that Mosar is going to be dropping pillars, that kind of nullifies the Stalker's high defense and stealth, because he'll just put a pillar anywhere, shoot it with something, and arc off and start doing damage to the Stalkers. So normally when I play with 4 Stalkers, all on Scar herself. In this version of the Scourge list, I've got Iacos in there. So he's running 2, she's running 3. Normally I'm willing to lose 1 or 2 at most Stalkers a turn, only normally leaving me with 2. But now with having 5 of them out there, I can literally give 1 up, especially if it's on an Iacos who's extends their threat range just a little bit more to threaten other things. It'll keep other ones safe if I give up 1 piece, because everyone freaks out about Stalkers. And justifiably so. They are probably one of the best jacks, definitely in Crix, and I'm sure I'll probably get some grief for that one, but I dare to have anyone else tell me there's a better, especially light jack, than a Stalker. So I take these Stalkers out wide on the flanks. These are the ones that are being controlled by Scar, because I can tell already with Cody having to bunch up with my ambush that the Stalkers are going to be able to hit those zones, kind of control them, and be able to cause Cody's army to have to split up, which is going to be interesting. He's got some guns in there, but they got to get close enough to see him. pillars are going to help out do a lot of blocking. So here, once again, I throw a stalker out there behind a forest though. So now you got to do a lot more stuff to deal with that one stalker. Void Archon flies over behind some forest again, making it really hard. I mean, 14 defense is good for a Void Archon, but when you can't even target it, it makes it even better. In this list, there's a lot of stealth, so the guns that I think Cody's army does bring can't see through stealth, so he's going to have to get close. Or what I think it's really going to happen is a lot of pillars are going to get placed, shoot those pillars, arc off, kind of go from there. So once again, a stalker kind of moves up daintily. I believe this one's on an Ayako, so he's going to be able to move a lot farther than the rest of the stalkers. So they're going to play a little bit cagey, kind of getting behind a house, keeping it easy. And there, Ayakos is probably going to be putting out escort and then moving and jumping behind there, being totally safe from anything and everything. So he's put up that escort, once again, to give him a little bit of armor buff currently, as well as get those stalkers of his a lot more range. Now we're kind of just still looking to figure out where we're going to place the rest of the army because of those pillars. I think even right now we're talking about pillars. What's their line of sight blocking?
Yep.
Explain that again, Cody. What's their ruling on what they do, and why are we figuring it out real fast?
So it's a 3-inch model, but it's considered huge base for line of sight purposes. So we were discussing whether or not the house would block line of sight to a huge base model. So we rolled for it and determined that it would not be blocking the line of sight, which made me happy.
Yeah, it's a give and take type scenario. So I moved up some models here. My girl gave herself, and I'm even blanking on her name right now. It's pretty sad. That's not Severa Blacktide. It is
The XER.
Xera. Yes, she went up and gave herself Prowl. Now, granted, there was no cloud around her at that time, but Gaspy 4 goes, and he puts a cloud on top of her. Now, we know that cloud causes a point of corrosion. It causes you to get the corrosion continuous, but she was done moving, so she now has stealth. A little trick there that Gaspy is able to do, to not only put clouds out in front of everybody, but he can do instant stealth for any of my Prowl models. So that's something that late game or even mid game can be put on Scar. Zarya can give her a Prowl, Gaspy can throw a cloud on her, and she can get very, very aggressive up front, where if the guns can't see through the stealth, she is fine. Even if they can see through the stealth, she's going to be 18 versus shooting, which is pretty good. The rest of the models kind of moving around, bringing up Warwitch Sirens, moving Arc Nodes, kind of getting ready, and then the linchpin of the models, Dr. Stygius, kind of getting himself moved up there.
So on my turn, I start measuring out what I can get to. So fun fact, pillars are amazing for electroleaps, and that's why I have 2 units of the goat cab in there. Basically, what I'm planning on doing, because he didn't feat, is I think I can get 2 stalkers turn 1, and maybe put some chip damage into 3. But the 3 is a hard pill to swallow. I'm fairly confident in 2 though.
And I think even right here, we're even talking, and just want to make sure everyone knows those are not actually scavengers on my proxied Gaspy 4. Those are actually talons. Yes. So proxied talons with this. Luckily, I've got all that stuff now. You'll see that in future bat reps. But we were kind of just discussing the talons, what their threat ranges were under Gaspy and all of their fun stuff. So
yep, good call. I actually forgot that those were talons. So yeah, I'm planning out my turn. I know I need to get rid of some stalkers, especially before Scar feats. So I'm trying to plan out my entire turn ahead of time. I also play Crick, so I have the habit of trying to think through things before I do anything. So it takes me a little bit longer. But once I get rolling, I get out there.
Yeah. Plus, your list has a lot of high value models in it, so you can't really throw anything away. Like I was saying, I can kind of get rid of a stalker or 2 and be okay with that because it's 8 points. It's not a lot, but you also have to work a lot to kill those 8 points. Where a lot of your models lower defense, but with Scar's feet can kind of take them out. So planning out the turn is perfect for what you're definitely doing here, and it proves to be some good stuff happening.
So I throw out a whole bunch of buffs. I give I put up Sunhammer to put some chip damage into his Warjacks. I throw out Mirage apparition on the topmost Primal Archon, and then I start laying down my pillars. So I want the pillars to be within 4 inches so I can catch the electro leaps. And what I'm measuring out now is I need to make sure that the pillar is close enough to hit the stalker in the middle of the table. And once it's dead, electro leap into the stalker behind the house, and not electro leap into the flag in the middle of the board. So I have to make sure the measurements are really crisp and clean there. I'm also trying to figure out where, if I need additional pillars out there to block any line of sight or charge lanes.
I think also this right now is you're actually feeding.
Yeah.
Right now, which I love the interaction with the feet. And is it the wolf that has finisher?
Yes. So wolf with no name has finisher. And then, so the feat makes it so you can't power up, or you can't.
I can't power up.
You can't power up, you can still allocate. So it reduces your ability for your stalker to do a whole lot of work, at least a little bit on your feat turn. So I'm trying to prevent that. And then the sun hammers up because that will trigger finisher right. From Wolf with No Name, who, as I'm looking at the playback here, I know during deployment I was debating on whether or not to put him on the left or right side of the board to either go after the Void Archon or Gaspy. I'm still not sure if the Void Archon was the right prey target because it's a lot cagier and harder for me to hit from range. But I had a feeling that you would just put a whole bunch of clouds in front of Gaspy every turn, and it would just really mitigate them. So,
but that's also kind of a way maybe to control Gaspy.
Yeah.
So it's still, if you play it again, it might be played differently.
Yeah.
Just because then he's having to use 4 focus every turn to kind of protect himself, because that wolf wrecks things with a point of damage for sure.
He does. So Mosar is done moving. The Goat Cav go up and start electro leaping into the stalker. When I'm rolling the dice, I'm rolling 2 dice to hit, and then the blue dice is how many leaps we have. I'm getting a whole bunch of leaps that don't do anything right now because they're going into the flag. But as you can see, I did quite a bit of damage to the stalker.
Wiped it out real fast.
Wiped it out, which is exactly what they're made to do, right? Yep. So it ignores clouds, concealment, cover, stealth. I think it's a really good tech for taking out low armor targets. And then they repo back. So now I'm planning out, I need to get my other unit of Cav in there to start electro leaping into the other stalkers. So I start moving my models up to clear out a path for them because they're kind of blocked behind there with my deployment. I move the Watcher up and do stone form. Have him sit there, port up the tree behind the forest, move everybody out of the way, put the Primal Archon in a place where I think he can be useful next turn and not get immediately destroyed. And then I start moving up my Cav. At this point, I realize that I have moved my Wold Watcher closer to the pillar than the stalker is. This was a significant misplay. So I had planned on killing 2 stalkers before feat turn, which is almost a requirement against a Scar 1. My placement made it so I couldn't do that anymore, which is not ideal. Probably the biggest mistake I made this game. I think it was very consequential. Everything else just kind of moves up, and that's almost my turn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking like you're doing that cleanup phase.
Just clean up, making sure I didn't forget anything, and then I'm done.
All right, so end of round 1, no scoring takes action as always. But now we come back, and it is Scar's turn. Spoiler, feat turn. Most times I probably do feat top of 2 if I can, if I've got enough pieces, because it's a great offensive feat, and then I can survive any retaliation for the most part. We also ambush in the Blood Witches. We're going up on that corner because that primal is right there close to us. He's going to be able to be kind of snagged just by, I think I end up getting 3 witches in there. The most important is the hag, because she applied the dark shroud into that. So that's what we're looking there. We then kind of do our focus, do some cleanup here. Remembering now we've got 2 stalkers and a talon that do not get power up this turn, which hurts. I know some people don't think that feat is good, but power up is what kind of turned Jax up on par with I Feel Hordes. It allowed them to have some easy resource stuff. So, and as always, you got to measure those 13-inch stalker leaps.
And I mean, a PAL 7 preventing 1 PAL 17 attack per stalker
is huge.
Is quite a bit underneath Scar.
It is massive indeed. So yeah, we did some measuring, kind of looking, kind of figuring things out. How much focus can we push out, still keep Scar either safe or the ability to cast Dark Guidance? Pretty much every turn I take Scar down to 3 focus, because then when we do our ritual sacrifice, even if we get a 1, we can still cast Dark Guidance, and I'm pretty confident now I can keep Scar safe throughout the game. Whether it be behind a house or all of a sudden give her a prowl and then put a cloud on top of her, giving her stealth. She's going to be fairly safe here. So we're still kind of measuring out some stuff. One thing our meta kind of does do pretty good is really plan out the turn how we want it to have happen, and then put that motion into action. And then obviously when things change, we're pretty good at kind of backtracking real fast and going with a different flow. I think that's happened. Will happen a couple times in this game. With Cody made the point about how he blocked off an angle on taking out a stalker. He then quickly diverted into another play. I also do the same thing here with mine when I actually start going here, because as we can see, handing out some focus, which is what those stalkers want. They are very focus hungry for needing to walk, jump. And then be able to get 4 attacks off is kind of huge. So right now we're looking at where can a stalker, actually no, it's just more where can a medium base go. This is that stalker that died first turn, and we're kind of doing some pre-measure for that talon. Just where can that talon get? What all can he take care of? With their speed 6 and inside of Gaspy's command range. Other constructs, including himself, gain +2 to their charge speed. So we now have a talon that is going from 6 to 8, 11, 12, 13-inch threat. So we're making sure we clear that water. That water would be just enough to keep him from getting to anything, I do believe. So lining this up real close, kind of discussing between each other of, is this good, is it not good, what can reach, what can't reach, so that way when we actually go through the turn, we already have that good kind of verbal agreement on what can be reached, and we can kind of move a little bit faster. So I think we're kind of just going over the plan one more time in the head of who's going where, what's going where.
I'm telling you what you can kill.
Yep, what are we going to be able to remove this turn? Gaspy hands out his focus to his Jax. I think he takes himself down to maybe 1 because we need to charge, and we want to make sure we hit things with that 1 talon. And you kind of double checking, making sure control ranges are up, seeing what we need to do here. And I think I start with the Blood Witches first this turn. Now their whole goal in life, their one job they're supposed to do is to remove that Archon. Get it engaged so that way it can't countercharge, and move it off. Figure we're going to have 6 attacks coming through. From 3 of them that do make its way onto the Archon. I'm believing that they can take him out.
Yeah,
spoiler.
So I was actually comfortable with putting the Archon over there. I knew that he was within charge range, but I knew you wouldn't be able to get him all over there when I had originally placed him. So I was fairly confident that he would survive. But, I mean, it is a Scar list, so I would say you should always remember that power-up can come quick. We do have a little bit of an issue with placement here just because it's kind of jumbled up.
Yeah.
That's why we could only get 3 on there, I do
Yep.
believe,
Yeah.
and not 4.
Yeah, I think if I would have gotten 4, that unit would have taken him out. But yeah, for good placement, just in the right area where couldn't get enough. But yeah, we get the hag on that and 2 more. So 6 good attacks. The rest of the unit kind of just shuffles over.
Did the hag actually charge, or did she just run to get?
The hag charged in.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so she's coming in with her sword, using that sword to put the grievous wounds into it. Now they go from mat 6 to a mat 8 with gang, so pretty confidently hitting. And my charge do great damage.
Yeah.
And then my horns do nothing whatsoever. And that's them doing PAL 14s and then PAL 12s. And here I am. I'm so used to seeing large models, I'm rolling an extra dice for a column. And as we can see on Cody's phone, there's no column with Archons. So, but yeah, so the 3 of them come in there and do a lot of work. I was hoping to save some other resources to not have to worry about that. But luckily, we still have models that can come in and address that. So they're done.
That initial charge took a chunk out, a lot more than what I was expecting.
Yeah, the witch came through and she did some work, that's for sure. So still looks about half life on that guy, but now I had to go on the fly. I had to change up a little bit where I'm thinking, okay, that stalker now is going to have to come in there to finish this, and I didn't want him to have to commit. I didn't want to be that close to anything. I wanted him to kind of be safe, sit in that zone, kind of threaten some stuff, but we have to rethink our life choices here. So we jump into Scar. She's going to come into action now and do her, 2 things she does. Well, 3. She does 3 things every turn. Hands out focus. She feats or puts up dark guidance. That's pretty much what she does every turn. So right now, yeah, she's going around and feeding. I believe Stygius gave her 2 focus when he writ-sacked a murder bot from Gaspy, which I think Stygius and Gaspy 4 have really opened up the Scourge list to have cheap, sacrificable things and a way for Scar to have someone else cast her signature spell to give her more focus. So
you also feeded on like 7 or 8 models. It was a lot more than I was expecting.
I feed hard with her every time. I have feeded on 10 models before. One time was just to body block, and I actually ended up winning on scenario top of 3 5-0 against a troll player because they couldn't get into any zones because there was just too many bodies with too much armor. So yeah, we feeded pretty hard, put that stalker into here. So, which is really good with the list here, with the Scourge list is, so that stalker got feeded on. So it goes from a 12 to a 17. There is now a friendly model over there, friendly faction warrior model. So that now gets gang. And there's Dark Shroud applied over there. So we go from 12, 17 to now PAL 21.
Which is dice plus 2. You do take minor chip damage from the Sunhammer.
Yep, Sunhammer. It affects. It's a thing.
And it's important to call out that because you leapt into range of the Primal Archon, you are not impacted by Shadowbind.
Yeah, yep, which is huge for just later effects here. But yeah, come through, and I think I did take 2 attacks to do it, which is good. I still had some in reserve, but yeah, I didn't really want to push him up that hard. I wanted to bring the Talons more centrally, but now I have one guy not in a zone, so I'm going to have to kind of redo things, which is what happens. So now we're double checking once again, just making sure we get good placement here, because we know that Talon can reach that goat. But we want to kind of just looking at other things to see who else we can reach out and touch. So we use 1 to charge in, put the proxy Talon in there. I believe I went in still boosted to hit. I think I'm out of Scar's control range for Dark Guidance. And I know if I hit, I obliterate the goat. And that's what we just need to do, is to make sure that thing goes away. So with a 2-inch melee, we can roll in there and blow it off the map. Move another Talon up, just put him into the zone. I think we're kind of good. I don't believe anyone's going to be able to reach into that zone unless we run into it. And then if we run into it, I'm even happier because that was just a wasted activation then as well. So
The first talon that went in, the measurement was so important because we determined that you were just outside of the wold weird, the 2 inches for the wold weird.
Yep.
So you were only able to get it into the goat calf, because if you had to go over to get the 2 inches for the other one, you would have been in the water.
Exactly, which would have not gotten the thing I need to do. I need to get rid of the electric leaps. So stalker jumps, comes in there, starts putting in some damage on some stuff, which is always good when stalkers can just ignore a lot of rules. You know, I can get around counter charges by being sneaky and hiding in places and then leaping in, placing, which then helps out a lot of that stuff. So putting a lot of damage in here to the other Archon. Chips here, chips there, which is always a good thing. You know, I feel bad saying this, but only POW 17s, but it still did damage here. So now we have this pillar we have to deal with. So this War Witch Siren got feeded on, so it goes from an 11 to a 17. So if I connect, I pretty much need to take that, which they're auto hitting. So yeah, that one is now gone. We now have a clear line of sight to some things, which is always good because that way I don't have to do any weird movement shenanigans with this next stalker to come in and remove things as well. So once again, walk in, jump. I'm able to get the Archon as well as the Wold into that 1 inch melee, which is real good. And once again, start laying into some POW 17s into that big Wold, or the Archon. Just need to get rid of them because they are so good. So I'm not going to say key to your list, but they definitely answer a lot of the problems.
Yeah, and
for your list.
I'll talk more about the primals and why they're in the list on my turn. But yeah, absolutely, they are key pieces to the list, and losing 2 of them is not ideal.
Yeah. Then I went in and threw a little bit more damage into that the Wold right there because he was there. I knew I wasn't going to kill him, but I just wanted to get some initial damage so that way later turns, when he's not able to stone form and get all super armored up, it'll be easy to come in there and take him when I don't have feet turned anymore.
And the Grievous also keeps me from healing for my objective as well.
Exactly, which is huge. Very, very huge. So now we've got another Stalker. Pre-measuring this one as well. And I think I just can't reach the ponies, but I can kind of get to some other stuff. Looking at what we can get with the spray, with the Void Archon, because he can just fly over and then reach out and touch people with a very long spray 10 off of that 6 inch movement. Once again, I'm just looking to get a couple points of damage on things for the time being. If I spike some dice and kill something, then I'm able to get a soul. I'm able to move around and put him back to safety. But I'm thinking that there'll be some other targets out there as well that may not be as a little bit juicier than he is once I start moving some other stalkers around here. So we measure up, wanted to make sure that we're all good with this. Archon flies up, who is still preyed, so I got to watch out for that. So that could be his downfall to have those guys. So comes in, sprays, hits some stuff, applies some damage. My dice kind of crap out on me, in hitting some stuff. Worked, but then the damage didn't kind of roll with it. POW 14's on the Wold. Just did a couple points. But once again, that's all I'm looking right now. A couple little things here and there. So once again, Stalker now comes up, and we start to move, and then realize, nope, we can't jump that way. That's where we have to jump. And once again, getting Sunhammer damage. And then after we move our 7, we place 2. I think we even, I verbalize it once again that there's no way I can be close to the pony. I would have loved to have been it, but then I know I can't be near it, so I back up just to make sure. So that way measurements are good. And then, yeah, we kind of throw in damage to this Wold. And once again, it's just, POW 17s are great, but Armor 21's a thing.
Yeah. You definitely did chip damage, and the Grievous Wounds was important, but anything you can do to chip them down is worthwhile. Right.
And definitely start taking out aspects. Making them just harder to use is kind of key for me. Plus now there are 2 Stalkers, defense 15, armor 18, kind of sitting right there in the middle, and now those are going to have to be dealt with. Icos walks up, and I realize let's not get too close because let's sunhammers or not sunhammer. I'm sorry, pillars are still a thing. If sniping out Iacos is going to take care of two stalkers, so let's try to keep him safe. He was feeded on, and he's got one, maybe two focus on him, so he's pretty safe from dying. But I figured let's not throw him out there without necessary. I mean, he can jump, get into some sticky places. Gaspy 4 kind of moves now, puts himself into that zone just for next turn. I know I'm not going to score yet because there's still things in there, but let's posture and put things up and then turn the turn over to Cody for reprisal.
Yeah, so that was brutal. Losing both Archons is an issue. So Werewolf Stalkers are only mat 6. The Goat Cav are Magic Ability 6 and Mat Terrible. I don't quite remember. So the Primal Archons do a lot of things because they auto knock down 4 and JoE, which fixes all the map issues I have. And it also allows, with the Shadowbind, it also allows the Electroleaps to hit without me having to bounce off pillars. And they are also perfect like Electroleap targets. So shooting them in the back, I can clear chaff off. Losing both of them really hurts the efficiency of my list. I do still have a couple things I can do, but it's not looking good. Defeat makes the Goat Cav useless. Powhatan Electroleaps aren't doing anything to Scar's feet targets. It's just not going to happen. And I lost the two things that the two Archons, which would empower my list to actually kind of get through this. They do hit really hard, and the knockdown's important, especially when I'm going against Stalkers.
Yeah, because that's their big key is that 15 defense is huge. Right. I mean, we always say if you touch a Stalker, you kill a Stalker.
Right.
It's pretty easy. Even at ARM 18, they're still able to be killed with the pieces that you've got in the unit. It's just do you boost the hit or boost the damage to wipe them out? And that's definitely the hard choice right now.
And with the AoE 4 on the knockdown, I can hit a model next to the Star, and I'll be able to take care of them. So I'm trying to plan out my turn. I realize I have to get rid of a lot of things, but it's difficult because, like I said, my Electroleaps aren't doing anything. We did get some chip damage in from the Sunhammer. I think that the feet honestly didn't do a whole lot in this scenario, just because it didn't take very many hits for you to knock out my guys.
But it is a nice way to just carve out points of damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just goes right. It's like, no, just take damage. It's not a damage roll. It's just take this much damage.
Yeah, the Sunhammer did some work on them, but 1 or 2 points would be nice if they weren't feeded on.
Sure.
Because then my Electroleaps could actually hurt them. So I'm trying to figure it out. I think I'm going to be. I have to clear out 2 to 3 Stalkers this turn, or I just die to Assassination, which is tough to do, like when you said when they're defense 15. So I'm trying to figure out and plan for how I can actually hit them. Because I no longer have knockdown. The Stalkers are mat 6, which means I would probably need a boost on most things. So it's not ideal. I do believe I put Curse of Shadows onto the Talon that you put there, because under feet, I think his armor was like 21, 23.
Ridiculous. So they start 16, they've got a shield, go to 18, feet on 23.
Okay, so 23. So I put Curse of Shadows on there because I need to, or I'll never be able to kill it. I also realized that scenario is going to be a problem at this point. Losing the 2 Archons means I can't anchor the side zones very well.
So it looks like you put out a pillar.
I put out a pillar as well, so I can Electroleap into the ambushers over there. And then I camped a whole bunch because I didn't know what I would actually be able to kill this turn. I did put the Stalker into the Talon. I hit. I start doing good chunks of damage to it. Trying to do a lot of math because Curse of Shadows -2 everything else that he has.
And then the arm went out, took out the shields, and I was like, okay, there's more damage that's going to be coming through with all of that. So I think he does get removed.
I honestly don't remember, so we're going to find out here in a second.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think I left him on like just a smidge, and someone else had to kill him.
It looks like there's 3 boxes left right now. But we'll find out. And now that I recall, I think you started talking about needing to leave something open, knowing that you're going to have to go hot elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that guy is pretty much useless now.
Crippled both arms.
Both arms.
And
it might be his movement is still in there, which, okay, he's 12 defense. He's not getting any focus. He's not anything, which is fine. So, but now ponies.
Yeah.
Ponies come around.
Goats.
Sorry, goats.
So the lightning goats walk over and start shooting the pillar, try to get electric leaps into that unit, which should finish them off. One of the things I like to do in list building with Mostar, in this specific list, is putting Puppet Master on the goats themselves.
Great use.
Because there is a chance that you can kill the pillars with rolling 11 or a 12. And actually on the first turn, one of my goats did kill that pillar, and I Puppet Mastered it so it wouldn't disappear.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, wait a minute, that's hilarious. To actually nerf your own roll with your own Puppet Master versus the reverse way. We always make it better.
Right.
So yeah, that was a brilliant play right there.
So I think I Puppet Mastered this unit. No, I didn't. I Puppet Master one of my stalkers later on. But the electric leaps are flying. They're doing okay. I think I leave 2 of them alive, maybe. We'll see here in a second.
I believe it is 2, and one of them was the hag because she had wounds.
Yep.
Was just, and your dice roll was just poor. Literally, I think everything except for maybe 1 should have gone. But I believe those 2, the hag herself and the last witch, just because the witch you had no more shots was left. So I think we were even kind of discussing that, counting everything left, and she had 1 hit point left.
Yep.
With that, so.
But they did something, which is nice. I think I probably should have played them. I should have repoed them closer to that zone. That way they could follow up on anything I didn't kill, and then maybe run next turn to get into a zone if need be. Having them that far back really diminishes their board presence. They can electric leap really far because of the pillar placement, but that's about it. I try to put a couple shots into the Void Archon, I do believe, and do a whole lot of nothing.
Actually, no, you did a whole lot to the Void.
I did, didn't I?
What I think you did is you shot first with the wolf, right?
Yes.
Which
no
didn't
damage. Have finisher.
There was no damage on it, so the finisher didn't really kick in, but still did an unbelievable amount of damage. As you can see right there, 3 points left on that Void Archon.
And that was almost all from the goats electro leaping into him, I do believe.
Well, I think what happens is you then E-leap into him.
Yep, there we go.
And what happens here is I think he's left on 1. And you only did 2 points of damage from those E-leaps. The thing is, though, 1 point would have triggered the finisher,
right?
Which then the wolf would have just mopped the floor with him. So, once again, another small misplay.
I'd say it's a big misplay. I mean, that's
one
of the core features of the list, right?
Get that point of damage on something to let some of these other models do their job.
So they're electro leaping. They're not doing anything even to the solo because of the feet.
Yeah, feet.
And we're still doing just super minor damage.
Here, this is where I think my thoughts, this is the biggest mistake of the game.
Yep, I repo them back instead of repoing them into the zone.
Yep, if you would have just gotten 1 into the zone, I would have had to do a lot more work on the next turn. So sometimes advancing backwards is a great thing. But this is, I think, you pointed that on the other unit, this one as well.
Yep.
It was probably the downfall to this turn. So now I think you're still coming. It looks like you were going in after another jack. Maybe we're talking about a jack here. Throwing out some dice again. Scrolling through the turn here. Trying to see. I know you still have. I think you're probably discussing right now.
I have
a stalker.
I have the stalker to go.
And you finished there. That's where that one
finished
finished off.
Yep. So one of the weirds, I think, forfeited movement to aim and killed it. Maybe. I'm not sure what else would have done it.
So you pushed in another solo into the getting more centralized here to be able to contest.
So that was my Wastelander.
Yep.
I put in there a fantastic model. When you're moving up the board, he can shield guard and then send the shot back at the opponent. And then once your lines actually clash, he goes in with decapitation, POW 10 weapon master. So
insane. But yeah, the unfortunate side is I don't have many guns, so it didn't work out. But him coming in late game though with that decap is huge. Looks, I think this is where you're now shooting with your
the weirds
on the guns. Yeah, I see him boosting right here. I think he's boosting to hit the stalker.
Yep, because the stalker was not affected by the shadow bind.
Right.
So I had to boost a hit and then boost the damage essentially to do work on it because the armor's so high from your feet.
Yep, and then I think you then start to divert your way towards Blood Witches. Yep.
Took out the hag. To kill the hag.
Yep, and was within 5 inches because they could see through the stealth. And then we moved the other one once again within 5 inches.
Yep. Although this one I wasn't able to aim because I had to move up just a smidge to get within the 5 inches.
Yep.
But I needed to kill that stalker. Mostar's very squishy, and even a banged up stalker can kill him.
Yeah, Scar's just able to turn them up with Dark Guidance. They're back to using 2 to hit, and then just rolling base damage, which is
dice off 2.
Yeah.
So
even rolling just 1 die with broken arm, that's still going to get damage.
Yep.
So then you're wasting fury on 1-2 points because you can't absorb it. So yeah, more damage coming through. It looks like that stalker is either almost finished. I think he's got like 2 boxes left.
2 left on him.
Right there, and probably should disappear right now.
Yep.
So he is gone. So another stalker removed. Another threat angle gone for Worries.
So the next is my Werewolf Stalker, seeing what I can walk into without the charge, because I know it's a tall order right now. I think I have to kill 2 or 3 stalkers ideally, is what I'm looking at. And after measuring it, I don't think I can get all of them, even with his 2-inch reach. And if things were to go immaculately, I just can't have the placement there to reach them all. So I'm thinking through which ones are most important for me to kill right now, because one of them is still going to be there. So I think I was asking you, what are the damage on some of them?
And this is where we said, everything's got 2 points of damage.
Right.
Everywhere was 2. And of course, not in the columns close to movement, which would have been much more key to help with the hitting process. Because now you're once again looking at, okay, I have to boost a hit or boost damage or do both, diminishing number of attacks. I think that's when, after discussing, once you finally get into here, we started talking about it, and you think you go from killing to let's just cripple as much as possible to make them be to put stresses elsewhere.
Yep.
To kind of line up for that next turn.
So he's puppet mastered right now. He worked for strength because I'm going to need to boost a hit. And I'm not going to be berserking into anything because it's just not going to happen. Start swinging for the fences. I missed the first one, I think. Second one hits, and this should be dice +2 because I think I start with the claw.
Yep.
So, and I do a chunk of damage to it. I think I break its movement and cortex.
You pretty much, I think you take 2 of the 3 to the point where they're there, but very ineffectual to do much of anything. Then we're just like bodies, which can be useful, but not the sole purpose of wanting to jump and take out Mostar, that's for sure.
So movement's out on that one and the arm.
Getting much more easier to hit. Now you're just raw dogging the dice rolls and allowing a good damage roll to come through. So,
and I think I'm asking you which one's crippled where, so I can plan out better. I think I'm targeting ones that won't be able to walk to get there, so they would need to jump.
Yeah, I think we're even talking here. It's like, okay, which one could walk and jump still,
Right.
and how close could it be? So yeah, that, and then we definitely go with the thought of let's just cripple.
Yep.
Get things down. Just don't kill, because they're all going to be engaged to a certain extent. They're all not going to be able to do much of anything, and it's going to be kind of hard because you can't allocate any focus to them. So they're going to have to walk to get anywhere. No janky jumps.
That one's left
like
on
that.
one box.
Yep, one box left on that one. So pretty much just going to stand there. Probably just apply grievous wounds if need be. And I think this is pretty much the end of the turn. I think he was like the,
I think he was the
last
last
piece. Kind of, yep, double checking your fury. Where's
fury,
how hot are you
Very.
right now?
Very, very hot. I still have the Wold
Yep,
Watcher.
the wall.
So I think I boost the punch because he's only mat 6, I want to say.
Yeah, and it was to cripple another one. I think that was the goal.
That was the goal, yeah, because PAL 12, that's a 5 underneath feet. So boost the hit, boost the damage. He only has a fury stack of 2. So that basically maxes him out. And we're just messing with facing.
Yeah, I think I always go back to did that cause a free strike or not? And I always forget that. No, you didn't leave anything. So, quick questions. That's one thing, once again, I like about our meta is that we all talk about the stuff. We'd rather get it right than to play something wrong, no matter if it helps us or hurts us. So always good questions to ask.
I think I cripple an arm there. So that one I think has Cortex and arm out, but it still has movement in one of its other arms. I think that's... Oh,
Yep,
the tree.
the
Tree goes up to contest the flag and get in the zone. So right now I have the Wastelander and the tree contesting the zone and the flag.
Yep. I get 1 point for controlling a zone with a Talon over there on the far side right now. So as my turn starts, we start to look at the board and go, okay, and I'm tapping going, okay, I need to score 4 points. How do I score 4 points? I need to get a Warjack in one zone. I need to get rid of an objective, which then that would be 2 points. I score another one for the other zone. So then it comes down to, okay, I need to be able to clear the inside. We're even discussing here once again that a Warjack still has to be in the control of the caster to be able to score point, so that Ripjaw can get over to that zone, but I then need to move Scar to make sure Scar's got him in control to be able to score that point. I think I was able even to almost get Scar over there, but I don't want to risk her that early in the turn because she's going to put out Dark Guidance just to ensure people hit. So we're still kind of talking through figuring out what do we have to do as well as other things to do.
Yep.
I know I want to try to leverage that Archon a little bit to help take care of an objective and maybe clear out a model or two in that zone. At least that was the thought to begin with.
And I think we did the math, and if you clear this center zone and kill my objective, you score the 4.
Yep, I scored 4 points, yeah.
Is what we calculate out. So you're allocating out and trying to clear things up.
Yep, so I still had that one stalker up there that was going to be able to have some points. So throw things on him as a worst case scenario. Do I need to walk and jump into something just to take the last few points of it, something of that nature. Then we've got Gas before gets one of his murder bots back, once again for Scar to use again to increase her focus pool. Fun fact with those murder bots in this list, they provide Gang as well as Dark Shroud, so when they're next to a Warjack, they're giving a +4 armor swing, which is kind of crazy. Start doing some measuring here. Got Exaria once again in there, and we're looking to go, okay, if she moves 3 inches right to that point, kills the tree, and then gives herself repo, she'll be right back to the spot she was sitting on that flag after she kills the tree. And then since the tree is a living model, she was able to go incorporeal as an option as well. So we kind of talk this out just to make sure we're on the same page with things. And then hand out more focus. Once again, checking control zones. control areas for Scar, like where's Scar going to have to be for that the Ripjaw to move over there and to score a point, assuming I can take care of the objective. Just where can we keep Scar safe, just in case something goes south, because things can go south fast. It's a dice game. Some models over there, I didn't know what their defenses were before I started to attack them. Found out they're higher defense than what I thought they were. So load up a little bit more on that Stalker, count up some things, talk through the play one more time here, and then we're going to start going here in just a moment. Lots of moving parts still. Kind of just wanting to make sure how we can do stuff. Looking at this spray from the Void Archon, because he can go over there, get a good charge on the objective, easily remove it with its 2 PAL 15s, one of which will be a charge attack. But then that spray, how much can you get on that spray? So,
and then what do you kill with it? Because a lot of your Stalkers have been really damaged.
Yeah. So, but I think those Stalkers are kind of expendable right now as we talk through the play. So it's, once again, we moved our 3 inches. What can we target? I think I even have to target one of my own Stalkers because I'm trying to, is that the wolf that's right there?
No. So you are targeting your Stalker to catch the World Watcher, your Stalker, and my Wastelander.
Wastelander, that's what, yeah. So we're trying to remove the Wastelander this way. And I go in there, do the charge attack, go into the objective, and piffle some dice, which was amazing. But then kind of crank it back up. So there we have 1 point. The zone's kind of freed up now, so we need to put a jack into that. We then keep looking, figuring out, okay, what's the defenses over there? What's happening? I think this is when I find out the Waylander is way defense high, I believe. I think he's like a 17, and I'm shooting on a 6. And it was weird. It was in your back, but then I thought it was 19. So we redid the math. The scariest part is, do a couple points to the Wold. I then start going into my Stalkers because they're there. And sure enough, I mean, one, movements are out, but then I crank damage on those guys. So once again, Stalkers out of feet. If you touch him, you kill him, even accidentally.
Yeah, the Wastelander is base 15, but he has a blade shield, so it goes up to 17. But then we were looking at, I think you were in his back.
In the back. So, we were kind of flipping some numbers around. It was really weird. So move the objective. That was the primary. Did not take care of the Wastelander, but I did remove one of my Stalkers. So,
I mean, that's a win.
Yeah, a win for the opponent. There's points for you, for sure. So that play didn't work to try to remove a model. So we kind of reshuffle the deck, kind of retalk some things here, figuring out where we're going next, and to figure out our next plan. Start looking at Gaspy, because Gaspy's got lots of tricks, for sure. Once again, Doc Stygius goes over, takes care of a Murderbot, gives Scar just 2 focus this turn, which I think she was sitting on 4, because we only handled out 2, because we only had one guy that needed anything.
I think the other ones were crippled as well.
Exactly. And then, the Ripjaw, he's doing his job, which was to get his foot into that zone. We kind of proxy where Scar needs to go to keep in control. That's all the further she's going to move. Once again, she still has to activate kind of early in the turn, so we don't want to make any mistakes. So she gets into there, looks at stuff, kind of still talking here, putting the rest of the wheels in motion. I do believe that Scar, of course, did her one-trick pony. She put up Dark Guidance to allow everybody to hit. And once again, retalking that move with Zarya, that if Zarya charges, she'll still be able to get her charge damage, which, granted, she's a weapon master, so she should easily take care of the tree, which she does. I don't even think we even moved her because she didn't need to be moved, because she was going to give herself repo as one of her battle plans to go back to the flag. So we've cleared one solo.
And then you go incorporeal.
And I go incorporeal, just once again to make her safe. We start looking here. So there is still the Wastelander in there. We've got Gaspy, who Gaspy has flight, so he's able to ignore some models. We have the murder bots that also have flight. Everyone charges in here. So murder bots, even though they have a PAL 3, they have a rule that says instead of doing a damage roll, they do 1 point of damage to a living model. So I don't know why they even have a PAL 3.
They also have murderous, so it's easy to hit infantry. Or warrior models like him.
Yep. So on top of that, so murderous and Scarfeet, they're throwing 4 dice. At Mat 5, they're probably going to hit stuff. So both of them come through, both of them connect, and end up doing 1 point of damage each to that. As we continue to go with the next attack. So another 1 point. And then Gatsby comes in. He's charged, and we're going to boost, so we hit because we don't want to flub any rolls. 4 dice. Comes through, hits, and now it's a charging PAL 18 and takes him out. And that double check, looks at all the points, and we call it right there. Yep. Still in the top of 3. Crick's getting 5 points and winning the game. It was pretty rough there. That the Scar can do what Scar does.
Yep. I mean, I had opportunities to win that. Like, I made some super poor mistakes. I think we're talking right now that if I had killed and not killed that second stalker, or at least crippled it on my first turn with the Electro Leaps, one of the primal archons is probably still alive.
Yes.
Damaged, clearly, but probably still alive. And then not repoing into the zones was an issue. I think I did plenty of work under your feet turn, which has kind of surprised me. Almost all the stalkers, if not all of them, were crippled or dead. And I still had 2 heavies left and 2 Wold Weirds left. So I feel like I could have continued the attrition very well. But I just didn't play for control points. I also could have dropped a pillar into the zones, which would have helped.
And you were afraid, once again, you acted early with your caster in the turn, and if something went sideways, you wanted to keep yourself safe because, minimum PAL 12s coming in are still going to hurt. Because, if those stalkers of yours did not do damage like they did, my stalkers could have gotten in there and definitely taken care of that. So, but definitely, a good game. Great fun game. One of our first games back after dealing with this whole COVID thing. So hopefully everyone enjoyed this. It was fun to play. We're going to have some more out here real soon. So when in doubt, play games, roll dice, and have some fun. Talk to everybody later.